2 weeks since a landmark election, Thailand is still waiting for a new government. Part of it is down to constitutional rules. It simply takes time. The other is about political acceptability of the Move Forward party. It won the most seats in the election with an agenda that included reform of the military and controversial lese majeste laws. But that very bold agenda is making it hard for its leader to become Prime Minister.
Peter Limjaroenrat has reason to be cheerful. The Western-educated progressive poster boy has struck the deal of his life, a memorandum of understanding with 7 other parties that could pave the way for him to become the next Prime Minister of Thailand.
Memorandum of Understanding is about shared values, shared commonalities, shared agenda, and also shared accountability. We're here today, right in front of you, right in front of the media, right in front of the international community. So I think that shows some sense of accountability of this Memorandum of Understanding, which is the first time in Thai political history.
That success comes with a price. At the signing ceremony, no mention of his promise to amend harsh lese majeste laws, which criminalises criticism of this man, King Vajiralongkorn. The progressives had to compromise to stand any chance of forming a government.
This Memorandum of Understanding puts Thailand's 30th Prime Minister in place. Whatever might obstruct the voting in of the 30th Prime Minister will not be in the MOU.
What is in the MOU? Plans to introduce same-sex marriage, constitutional reform, and tightening up of cannabis laws. Since the drug was legalised last year, black market sales have exploded.
For the shop owners, if you had followed the rules, if you had followed the protocols, if you did everything correctly, there would not be any impact on you. However, if it's illegal imports, if you open the shops without any permit, then we have a strong legal mandate to be able to control.
These political rivals may have a deal to form a government in their grasp, but it is not yet done. They now need to win the backing of enough hardline conservatives in the upper house.
And joining me now from Bangkok for more is senior Reuters correspondent Panu Wongcha. Panu, the Move Forward party inked a deal with 7 other partners on the issues they all agree with. Does that move Thailand any closer to having a government?
Move Forward coalition building seems to be on track, but we're still depending largely on the timeline sort of imposed to us by the Constitution. And what we have right now is official election result, but what we don't have is an endorsement of those results by the Election Commission. Once those election results are endorsed, then within 15 days, Parliament must convene to select the House speakers. But the endorsement could still take weeks or even months away, with the latest being sort of early July. So we're still waiting to see that.
But why did this endorsement take so long?
It's the process that is written in the Constitution that was drafted after the 2014 military coup. The coup makers and the charter drafter that they appointed basically built in this very extensive period before a government can be formed. And so in this context, we have to realize that this election is still being held and the government is being formed still under the rules written by the military. So essentially, that's why we have to wait for quite some time. And Thailand could see a new government, beyond August, in fact, or even September. So it really depends on these steps that the military has put in place.
All right, let's assume that the endorsement does happen by July, but even after that, it is not a given, is it, that the Move Forward party and its leader, Peter Limjaroenrat, will become Prime Minister, because his government needs to be approved, so to speak, by the Senate, which again comprises of 250 members that were appointed by the previous junta, isn't it?
I mean, certainly we're still, as I say, under the shadow of these rules that the military has created. But basically, we have basically three likely scenarios. Pita, Lim Rat, and the Move Forward coalition look the most likely because they won the election and they are coupled with sort of the pro-democracy opposition to the military, if you like, this gaining momentum. But they still lack certain amount of votes in the upper house for the PM vote. So the second scenario, of course, is that it Move Forward because of its progressive reformist agendas, maybe too not so palatable for the establishment. They move to the opposition, then maybe they give room for Pheu Thai, the second winner, the party that came second, to form an alternative government, maybe with some allies from the conservative parties. And of course, the last scenario, unlikely but still possible, is a minority government led by the pro-military parties that have been in power for the last 8 years.
Let's talk about Peter Limjaroenrat from the MFP, the party that really came out ahead and was a surprise winner for a number of analysts, must be said as well. I mean, Peter campaigned on a reform of the military and Thailand's lese majeste laws. And as we both know, this is a complete antithesis to what the military-appointed Senate members believe is important for Thailand. Where does that leave his chances of becoming prime minister?
Yes, certainly. I mean, the campaign that they ran, the sort of policy that they came up with is a real challenge to the power of the ruling pro-military establishment. And as I mentioned, these policies may prove to be not very palatable for the establishment, so that could hurt his chances. But they still have some time. So time is also can be a powerful ally to kind of change a lot of these senators' minds, because largely enough their election win surprised a lot of people, and a lot of people are saying that these appointed senators should follow the will of the people, and that has some weight still in Thailand. So we'll have to see. But certainly the agenda to reform the military, to rewrite the constitution, to reform the lese majeste law is very controversial among the establishment circle.
That might be so amongst the establishment, but amongst the wider electorate, it doesn't seem to have been the case. If you look at the election results, it seems to have been quite a clear mandate in that people want a change. And if they don't get it, what happens then?
Well, this is where it gets interesting because we're still looking weeks and months ahead, but we're already seeing signs of some disgruntlement, that people are upset that these mechanisms, these rules that have been created during the military junta days are still kind of standing in the way of a people's government, if you like. And if this is not followed through, if somehow some sort of manipulation allows different kind of scenarios to emerge, we're looking at a likely chance that there might be more street protests again, and we might getting back to that old Thailand cycle where we have street protests followed by a military coup and so on and so forth. So you cannot rule anything out at the moment, but certainly tension is building. But all sides are realizing right now that we have a bit of time to, sort things out and sorting things out in a way that the electorate would be happy. So I think we're still looking and waiting. But certainly if the general will of the people is manipulated, then, history have taught us that things could get instability, there could be more instability again right ahead.
We'll leave it there for the time being, but thank you so much for bringing us that context. Senior Reuters correspondent Panu Wongcha joining us from Bangkok. Thank you so much.